The following is a special presentation of First Horizons Greene Sports Zone. This is the Tommie's Plumbing Caleb Slover Show. Welcome back to First Horizons Greene Sports Zone, and welcome back to this year's edition of the Tommie's Plumbing Caleb Slover Show, where we cover everything on the range with the West Greene Buffalo football team. We'll talk about the Greene County versus County Jamboree quarter with Hampton and preview this week's Week 1 matchup as the Buffaloes host the Cosby Eagles. But first, before we do that, we need to take a quick break to thank all of our sponsors right here on First Horizons Greene Sports Zone. The Tommie's Plumbing Caleb Slover Show is brought to you by Gateway Ford Nissan and by Tommie's Plumbing. Welcome back to First Horizons Greene Sports Zone, and welcome back to this year's edition of the Tommie's Plumbing Caleb Slover Show, where we cover everything on the range with the West Greene Buffaloes football team. As always, I'm joined here with Buffaloes head coach Caleb Slover. Coach,
appreciate it.
No shades on this week.
No, we're inside. So.
For a good reason, too.
A big reason today, I can promise you that.
It was hot when I stepped out of that car today.
It's hot and humid, so there was no reason to be out there sweating that bad this early.
Yeah, we told y'all last week, we probably won't see that Buffalo anymore this year. If you do, it's probably in November when we're prepping for a playoff game because, man, it's hot in these months during the season.
It is, and it's hot sitting out there where there's no shade at all. There's no wind right there between the buildings, so it gets hot out there.
Humid. Man, humid, especially from yesterday. Did y'all get to practice? That was a crazy storm.
We got just a few minutes in. You know, we got a lucky little break right there following the, heat and lightning protocols, and got to go out there we wasn't out there very long.
Yeah.
And we looked up, man, the clouds were rolling in, and we got the kids and got everybody out of here. And then by the time all the kids and everybody left and I walked out to close the gate, it was raining so hard I couldn't see.
Yeah, it hit hard.
It hit quick. Man, it was in a hurry, and it was coming down.
Was it raining so hard you couldn't see the school?
Well, it was raining, and the wind was blowing so bad I could barely get the door open to get out of here. So, we finally got the door punched open and shut it real quick and locked it up and ran out, but it was coming. The wind was strong there for a little bit, so it's good to get out of here, though.
Hey, hope we don't see any of that weather anytime soon. No. For a matter of fact, no more the rest of the year. I don't want to see that at all. But let's talk about this past Friday night. You dressed up and you competed in the Greene County versus County Jamboree at South Greene. You played the opening quarter against the Hampton Bulldogs. Didn't go the way you wanted to, but you still got to play everybody out there. I think everybody participated in the Jamboree, and that's what a Jamboree's for, too. So what did you like out of Friday night's action?
I thought, we threw the interception right off the bat on offense, but we came back and put a good drive together. Had a couple penalties down there that cost us. Going back watching on film, we're right at the first down. Could have probably kept it going. Could have kicked the field goal, but wanted to give our kids another play, another opportunity to make a play. And defensively, we held them good the first two plays, and they got the long run on us. Then we made them earn it from there the rest of the way in, and we took our guys out, and we wanted to make sure that we got everybody in. Everybody got dressed up to go over there. So we wanted to get in as many kids as we could, but we learned a lot from those second guys. We've got a lot of growing up to do, and I thought seeing our young age showed with that group, especially when you're playing a top 5 team in the state, and there's a reason that they're ranked 5th. So our kids battled, and that's what we wanted to see, and we just kept telling them we've got to play physical and we got to be tougher and those things, and I think they got a good dose of what a really good football team is to set us up for the season.
And you're finished with preseason activities now. The Jamboree is always the end of preseason, and it welcomes you right into the regular season, which is why we're here this week. But just recapping the preseason activities, what have you learned from your team?
I think the big thing is I think the guys want to win. I think they want to change the culture. I know they've had some down years here the last few years, so getting those guys to believe in themselves, getting them to believe in they can win, that they can go out there and do it. That's always job number one. And you could see it in our guys' eyes. They were upset after the Jamboree that they didn't play well, that they made mistakes, and that was a huge difference just from the beginning of the summer. The beginning of the summers, we'd make mistakes, we'd kind of shrug it off and all that, but these kids are starting to believe a little bit more, and it's going to take some time. This is not an overnight fix, but we're going to continue to challenge our kids to be more physical and to get better each day, each week improve, no matter what that scoreboard says right now. But we've just got to get better. And that way, by the end of this year, toward the middle of this year, whatever it may be, we think when everything clicks to them, that we're going to be a much better football team. So we just got to keep working at it and strive for that goal each day to get better and be more competitive and be better each Friday night.
Side topic, I only covered one football camp during the preseason. It was your all's youth camp. How fun was that youth camp that you held in, I believe, July?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun, man. It's always fun to see little kids get out here and play around. And, it's one of the things we told our kids is, you don't understand how much these guys look up to you, whether they're in middle school or little league or anything like that. They look up to you. They're going to come out on Friday nights and they see you play and they see you wear your jerseys and do all those things. And so they really look up to you. So it's fun for them, and that's why I told our kids we want to make it fun for them. And, it's great to have some Tusculum guys come out here because that's who our guys should look up to. And, whether they want to go play football or not at the next level, but it's the respect that those guys give, the amount of work that they put in, the effort they put in, how much it means to them. Because there's a lot of kids out there that, go play college football because that's the best thing for them. And, they get that opportunity to go do it. And it's just great to see those guys come back and give some time back to the community. So it kind of goes full circle right there for our guys and for the younger kids.
Yeah, it was a fun day to be out here too. And then rounding out the end of my preseason talk, who have been some of the players that you've seen improve the most? I know you've been here since the end of May, so it's a lot shorter. You didn't get to spend that time with them back in March and April during those spring practices, but you did get to see them for 2 months in June and July in the weight room and on the field. Just in those few short months, who have made the most strides and improvements?
Yeah, I think probably obviously the first one's going to be Aiden Thompson. I think just because he probably carries the most weight on our football team right now, and he's doing a good job of kind of separating that and settling into his job and settling into his role. And the interception at the Jamboree was probably my fault, but I think that's the only one he's thrown so far, luckily for us. But he's doing a good job of taking care of the football. Really understands, I know I'm hard on him. I know I am, but I think he understands that now to the point of, I just want him to be better. I want him to be the best that he can be. He's hard on himself. So as far as, the growth is probably from him. I love the way Hunter Franklin's grown as a leader. Trent Franklin's grown as a leader, the way that they work really, really hard in the weight room. Kenny DeBoer, obviously, he's become a little bit more of a vocal leader for us.
Hey, Kenny won a contest at the Jamboree.
That's right. Kenny did win a contest. It was the big man contest. It was for speed.
Hey,
you don't get that a whole lot.
Fastest lineman out there.
You don't get that a whole lot with big guys and speed in the same sentence. So,
but Kenny shined.
That's right. He shined bright that night for us. So that may have been our bright spot, but he did a good job. So, but I mean, he's becoming more of a vocal leader. Kilo, I think, has grown into a better player, wanting to understand how to do things and where to line up and how to get people lined up. But we've just got a lot of kids that's growing in those. But, I think those probably 3 or 4 or 5 right there is probably has grabbed my attention and wanting to grow the most.
Were you a former quarterback?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so last question, too. I meant to ask this question in our preview out there by the Buffalo, but I didn't, because you spoke about Aiden being one of those players that you either expected the most from or to break out. Maybe both. I can't remember. But how is that dynamic when you're a head coach and you're teaching a new quarterback and leading him into that starting role?
Yeah, I told him, I guess it was our very first team meeting. I was like, I expect the most from our quarterbacks. I played the position. I know what it's like. I played in an offense similar to this. We broke a lot of records over there. We won a lot of football games over at Tusculum when I was playing in it. And, so my expectations for them are always a little bit higher. And sometimes the good thing is you got to pull yourself back. And that's the toughest part, for me to do, is to be able to pull myself back and say, okay, well, these guys don't understand what we're doing. They don't understand what I'm talking about when I say this or I say that. And so you got to pull yourself back a little bit and reteach everything from the ground up. And I think that's probably one of the toughest things to do is to pull yourself back, because it's so easy for us. That's just like doing an interview for you is nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. For me it'd be a little bit more difficult, but me teaching you how to play quarterback is easy for me, but it's going to be a
hard learning process.
It'll be a lot different for you. So, I think just all of us as coaches stepping back at each individual position, stepping back and saying maybe our guys don't understand what this is. So let's make sure that we're clearing those things up. And I think we've done a much better job of that over the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I think you can still kind of see it in our kids where it's starting to click to them. Not fully yet, but we're starting to get there.
Hey, the preseason's out of the way now.
Yeah.
It's time for the regular season. We'll talk about that in the back half. Cosby travels down here to play West Greene in week 1 here on the range in Mosheim. But first, before we do that, we need to thank our sponsors once again. So here's a shout out from them here on First Horizons Greene Sports Zone.
For over 30 years, Tommie's Plumbing has been serving the Tri-Cities with a personal touch because we're not just plumbers, we're family. From simple faucet fixes to major plumbing repiping, we have the expertise to get it done right. We also specialize in water heater and tankless water heater installations, helping you find the perfect fit. Our technicians stand behind their work and leave your space spotless. Need a plumber who's fast, professional, and reliable? Call Tommie's Plumbing and let our family take care of yours.
Hey folks, it's Gateway Ford in Greenville. Right now, everyone gets Ford employee pricing. The same deal Ford employees get. No games, no negotiation. Save maximum green in Greenville today at Gateway Ford on Highway 11 East or at gatewayfordgreenville.com. Save some green in Greenville at Gateway Nissan, carrying on a 55-year tradition of doing business your way. Save thousands on Sentra, Rogue, Frontier, and more. Take the short drive to Gateway Nissan in Greenville or online at gatewaynissangreenville.com.
Welcome back to First Horizons Greene Sports Zone, and welcome back to the Tommie's Plumbing Caleb Slover Show, where we cover everything on the range with the West Greene Buffaloes football team. As always, I'm joined here with West Greene head coach Caleb Slover, and the Caleb Slover era officially begins this Friday night. The Cosby Eagles travel down here to play the West Greene Buffaloes in week 1 here on the range. Coach, what are we expecting on Friday night?
For us, what we've talked about the whole time is we're going to go out. We want to go out and play hard for 4 quarters and find out where we're at and see where we're at as far as conditioning and our toughness and mental toughness and those types of things. So we're going to go out and play hard. We feel like we've got a good game plan. We just got to see if we can go out and execute it the way we're supposed to. We got to minimize mistakes and do those types of things to keep ourselves in the game and give us a chance.
And let's talk about Cosby. Let's talk about their offense and their defense. Let's start with the offense first. What do you see from their offense that you expect or you try to stop on offense?
They've got a few new players on their team, and they've got a couple of receivers, 2 or 3 receivers that are really, really good. They're dynamic with the ball in their hand. They're explosive down the field on the deep ball. They've got a new quarterback that has a really good arm, likes to run it. He's a big kid, strong kid, makes good decisions with the football. So, it's going to be tough to rattle those guys. And then obviously they've got the tailback back from last year that's he's just a big, strong, physical downhill runner, and you can just tell the difference when he's in the backfield and when he comes downhill, he's coming downhill with a purpose, and he's not going to try to go around you. He's going to go right through you, and he's going to make his point. So that'll be good for us. That'll be a good test for us, and they're going to be big up front, and they're going to be strong up front, and they do a good job up there. So across the board offensively, I think they're a really good football team. I think they've got a lot of weapons, and it's going to take us to cover the whole field and to control it.
And flipping it to their defense, what is their defense going to try to do to stop your offense?
Yeah, they're probably going to be in some man stuff. They like to bring some pressure. They'll bring pressure up the middle, and they'll bring pressure off the edge. And it's tough to do when you get. They've been in that 3-3 stack defense, which is always tough for an offense to figure out how to block it because there's always that guy in the middle now instead of the 2 guys on the side at linebacker. So, it always makes it a little bit more headache, and it's always easier to get confused up front of where you're going. So we got to do a good job with that. And, on the back end, they'll mix it up and play some man, some zone, but, they're going to live in their box and they're going to live with their pressure, and they do a good job of it. They've created a bunch of turnovers and a lot of problems for people so far.
Into the interview, I always ask one question that I like to say has become everybody's favorite question. Hopefully there's one more after this that will become everybody's favorite question, but you've got 3 keys to the game. What are they Friday night when you take on Cosby?
No turnovers. We got to be physical, and we got to minimize penalties.
All right, easy enough right there. Now to the new segment, which will hopefully become everybody's favorite and my personal favorite. let's introduce the question of the week. I'm going to ask you a question that's been a burning topic throughout American culture throughout the last few years, and I want to get your opinion and see what each coach throughout the county thinks. First question here in week 1, does pineapple belong on pizza?
No, to me, no, because I don't eat it.
You don't eat pizza?
I don't eat pineapple pizza, so that's not something that I've tried. So that's not something that I've ventured over to. So to me, it would be no.
Hey, so far we're 3 for 3. No pineapple on pizza, and if you include the host, 4 for 4. I don't eat pineapple on pizza either. But we'll have another question next week. We'll get into some hard-hitting ones later, maybe like who's the GOAT of a specific sport. That one always draws a lot of debate too. But hey, it's here. Week 1 with Cosby. How excited are you?
We're excited, man. I mean, we just get an opportunity to see the hard work that these kids have done, and we've preached to them over and over. We've got to be a team. We've got to stay positive through it all. It's all going to be a learning experience for us. It's going to be all of our first time together out there on a Friday night. So we've got to be supportive of each other, and we just got to keep battling.
I always pin one team as the wild card team every year. I think I'll pin West Greene as a wild card team this year just because there's a lot of different faces, obviously a different head coach. So I think I'd pin you all as a wild card this year. I think you all are a team that everybody's excited to see and eager to see, just to see how you all will play with a new style of offense, new head coach, new quarterback, and everything like that. So, hey, we're a little over 72 hours away from that coming to fruition with Cosby on Friday night.
Start to get the butterflies by now.
You
don't get butterflies by now, man. You're in it for the wrong business. I talk to my wife about it all the time. I tell everybody that I talk to, I probably still get more nervous than the kids on Fridays before the game. I mean, I'm pacing back and forth. I'm a real quiet guy.
Jittery.
I don't like the noise, and I like to sit there and just concentrate on me and in the bubble right there. And but I get nervous. I've always told my wife, I said, when it gets to the point that I don't get nervous and get jittery anymore, it's probably time for me not to do it. So I think that's just been something that I've had since, I was probably a freshman in high school. So every year coaching, every game playing, I've always been that way. So, I think that's what gets your blood pumping and get your juices flowing and, carries you out there with some excitement and momentum to get out there and play hard.
Hey, Friday night it's here, West Greene versus Cosby. Week 1, we encourage you to come out here at 7 o'clock on the range here in Mosheim. No game broadcast this week, not on GSZ, not on radio. We'll stay tuned and have more broadcasts in the future. But, Coach, hey,
thank you.
Best of luck this week,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Tommie's Plumbing Caleb Slover Show. We look forward to seeing you next time here on First Horizons Green Sports Zone.